Hello dear traders, let us review how the markets evolved in the past week. US stocks and the US dollar advanced last week. No significant statistics came out on Monday. Corporate reports were positive. The quarterly profit of the Bank of America exceeded forecasts. An additional positive for the global equity markets was the announcement of the Japanese SoftBank on the acquisition of ARM Holdings, a British chip maker, for $32 billion. ARM Holdings shares soared by more than 40%. Prices of other similar companies worldwide increased as well. The US dollar strengthened against the backdrop of increasing political risk in Europe and the Middle East because of the coup attempt in Turkey. On Tuesday, positive data on the US housing market for June came out. According to CME Group FedWatch tool based on Fed Fund futures prices, the probability of a rate hike by the Federal Reserve this year rose to 50% from 20% a month earlier. This contributed to a market increase in the US dollar index. Stock prices did not react to macroeconomic positives because of weak earnings report from Netflix. An additional negative factor was the reduction by the IMF of world economic growth forecast by 0.1% in comparison with its own estimates in April. Now, the fund expects the world's GDP this year will grow by 3.1% and in 2017 by 3.4%. Note that the IMF has downgraded the forecast for the fifth time in the last 15 months. There were no significant macroeconomic data in the United States on Wednesday. Stock indexes rose due to good corporate reports from the following companies: Microsoft, Abbott Laboratories, and the bank Morgan Stanley. The strengthening of the US currency continued, since the probability of rate increase by the Fed slightly exceeded 50% for the first time after Brexit. On Wednesday, the US stock prices retraced because of weak earnings reports from computer giant Intel, as well as Southwest Airlines and Union Pacific transportation companies. The US dollar index also fell as the Bank of Japan and the European Central Bank stated that they are not going to hurry with additional easing of monetary policy. Note that market participants ignored the positive US statistics on existing home sales for June. Additional positive data came out on Friday in the United States. The July manufacturing PMI, estimated by market, exceeded forecasts, which contributed to the rise of stocks and the US dollar. Many important events are expected this week. The data on durable goods orders will be published, and the next Fed meeting will be held on Wednesday. No interest rate changes are expected, but investors await for comments on the state of the US economy. On Friday, the second reading of the US GDP for the second quarter will be released. The publication of quarterly earnings reports of the US companies will continue this week. Let us know significant improvements in forecasts. Currently, investors are expecting the reduction of total profits of the companies included in S&P 500 by 3% according to the results of the second quarter of 2016. In late June, before the release of the first reports, it was estimated to be far worse, minus 5%. Market participants think that the main increase in total profits of the companies included in S&P 500 should start according to the results of the third quarter. It should grow approximately by 2%. Further, according to the results of the fourth quarter of 2016, the increase in profits should reach almost 10%. Such optimistic expectations move the US stock indexes towards new historic highs. This was all for the past week. Happy trading and see you next week.